them come. This is their fate.
Baby. Birdman got signed. Was we finished or is we done? All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. We ain't talked in a while. We ain't played no games, but we got plenty to talk about because for real, this week has been jam-packed with a bunch of controversy, stuff being announced, stuff being unannounced, stuff being being shamed, and a lot of revelations coming to fruition, especially when it comes to wages in the gaming community. But there is a lot going on, so we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to just get right to it. But before we do that, Jalen, Josh, update the people on how you been. Update me on how you been, what you've been doing, if you've been playing anything on your lonesome. Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah. My week was pretty, not much happened. Just been plugging away at homework, trying to finish up the last few classes. Family's doing good. It's getting cold out here in Japan, in which Japan is normally really, really hot, and I was surprised how fast it swung to now being really cold outside. We don't get much snow out here or anything like that. It's just jacket weather though. What else? Been playing Overwatch. I've always been enjoying it. Oh, what'd you say?
Jacket weather. That's my favorite weather. That's fall weather. I'm pretty sure fall is definitely my favorite season. For sure. But
yeah, I like fall. I like it more than spring because you ain't gotta worry about pollen and all that junk.
Man, autumn bugs. Get out of here. Die off. Fall time. It's fall time, baby. It's that temperature right enough for me to survive, but you bugs can't. That's what I love.
Overwatch is going good. I'm enjoying it. Obviously they, cosmetics, they charge me too much. But yeah, I'm almost done with the battle pass. I haven't bought it yet, but I figured if I finish it, then I'll just go ahead and claim the stuff I already earned. But most of the week I've been playing Gotham Knights, which we'll talk about.
Man, I got
half the time trying to figure out how to get it to run well, and the other half just playing the game. But yeah, that's my week. Not too much. I ain't been bouncing around the country like Jalen.
Man,
been up to.
Shoot, not a whole lot, man. Just same old working out. I was hoping. Last Monday, some dude messed my shoulder up. Still hurt. I'm like, bro, it's hooping stuff, bro.
Tighten shoulder charges.
Man,
he put his head down, got that wind up behind it.
Bro. Nah, he tried to put me in a master lock, bro, when both. I can't even abduct my arm.
Yeah. Man, don't tell me he wasn't in the air though. Y'all was just y'all was tussling on the wood. Y'all was tussling right there.
Bro,
I don't understand how the contact be happening sometimes when it's overly aggressive. I was watching this one video and this dude is he basically locked inside with the other guy because he was mad because he crossed him, and he tossed him 3 feet. I was like, no, what the heck is happening? But people really be getting upset.
Nah, it just be extra stuff. He literally. I had the ball. I was finna Kobe this dude that was guarding me. But this other dude came. The other dude came up and tried to get under because I had my arms up when I was holding the ball. I just had the ball my arms was horizontal basically.
Mm-hmm.
My elbows and stuff, and he came under trying to get it, but he went under my arm and lifted up my shoulder way too much to where it's supposed to go. My arm, so it was the joint of my shoulder and stuff like that. So I've been feeling pain when I've been asleep, bro. I can't even put my arm up to lay down.
So he jacked you up that much from the way he kind of lifted your arm, like
yeah. But it was like we got into a tussle, like with the ball, like a jump ball type thing.
Gotcha. So he
I'm
got
like,
you,
bro,
did he
like,
catch you in the air, or did he catch you on while you was like down,
just
like
I was literally just like
standing
on the
and
ball,
like lifting the ball
standing.
up, kind of? Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, bro, and my arm just felt like mad numb after it happened. I was just looking like, bro, I know I'm finna feel this. That's why firing on this right now. So, excuse my. But anyway, so
he don't excuse his passion.
that the game I've been playing, I've been playing a little Overwatch a little bit. Last week was kind of busy for me because I went to go visit my mom. I went to Howard Homecoming. It was lit. I'm glad I got to experience that. So I had a good time there, and I mean, I was playing, like I said, I was playing that hack Pokemon game. I'm finna cut that off, though. I ain't even finna lie to you, because I don't really want to spend no more time into it at this point. So it's just the level curve finna get real steep or whatever. And I'm at the end of the game at this point. I literally got like 15 trainers to fight left. And they just all through victory road. Yeah, it was cool. It kind of get a little repetitious, and they be cheating and stuff in the game. So, but I mean, it's fine. It was a good challenge and stuff. It's just that my Pokemon at like level 75-ish, 80-ish, and the Elite Four and people in Victory Road is like 82, and I'm just like, I'm not finna grind to go fight y'all and stuff like that. It's doing too much. And you got to have an HM slave in there too. I'm not doing that either. So, because they just gonna waste a slot on my team, and I need everybody on my team. So, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Waiting for Sonic to come out, and yeah,
Sonic, that's crazy. We're gonna talk about that too. I was actually trying to figure out, whether or not it'd be better to buy it on PC because it's cheaper. And I was going to play it on Steam Deck, and I was like, but I wasn't going to play it day one. So I was like, should I just see if the Steam Deck is worthy enough to play this game? I heard it was okay running. I don't know if it's like the greatest, but the pop ain't going to be there regardless of what platform you play it on. So I was like, why not? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's going to be like $10 cheaper. But I don't know. But yeah, okay. I ain't been doing much, you know what I mean? Finally, I'm a little happier today because of the death to the crumble cookie. If you know what crumble cookies are, and if you don't know what crumble cookies are, good. But if you do know what crumble cookies are, it's this cookie brand that's pretty gross. But people are starting to open their eyes to the nastiness of this cookie. So I'm glad for that. That was a little amusing to see that they ashy, and people know they're ashy now. Not saying it made me feel better, but it made me feel better. But then, I mean, I've been just playing, I played some more Apex today because I'm like at the end of the season, and I'm like at 82, and I was like, might as well try to get to 100. So I'm doing that now, playing a lot of Control. It's fun. I don't really have to think about it. I turn the volume all the way down, and I just watch podcasts and play. And it's very simple because you don't really got to pay attention too much in Control. So, I mean, at least they want you to.
They brought back Control, or it stayed the whole season?
They brought it back this week. So I've been playing that to do all the challenges, and it's been helping me finish them faster. Like all the kill, get damage with certain weapon types or whatever. So it's been helpful there. And yeah, I've been just playing that. I haven't played anything else. I play a little bit of Plague Tale, but like not to delve deep into it. I do have the which another thing is they're gonna be really taking advantage of that HDMI 2.1 crap for the 1440p at 40 frames per second. Versus, playing at 30. So, I mean, I have it. So, I've been playing it that way. It's been running pretty smooth. And I think the same thing going to happen with God of War Ragnarok. Is they're going to have like a 4K 40 frames per second versus the 1440p 60. Just like I play Ratchet and Clank, I'm probably gonna play all 3 of those games that way because I don't know. I mean, it depends really. If it's like a really good, solid 1440p 60, and it's like a really good in quality as well. If it's no real big significant difference, I just play it in that way. But normally, when you get it to the 40 FPS, they try to push the fidelity up, so that game gonna be pretty. I'm gonna want to play it in the prettiest format it can be, plus have a little smooth experience. And since I have HDMI 2.1, which is some benefit for people that have it, I mean, I might as well use it. So. But yeah, I ain't really had much. I just been keeping up with the news, keeping up with the times, and that's what we finna dive right into. I'm glad you guys can come along for this interesting topics. Josh, because you playing Gotham Knights and it's fresh in my mind, let's start there. Gotham Knights, Josh. Let's give me a quick 4-minute rundown of your experience so far.
Yeah, so we've been looking forward to it, like the game at first, and then like it started having like controversy with like the graphics options and the price and stuff like that. But so just to preface it, I played the Arkham games, I enjoyed them. Batman has never been my favorite superhero, but the games were fun enough that I was always interested in them. So this one, picked it up mainly because I wanted to just see like how bad it was, because like the reviews were coming out, it was mostly mixed, but some of the bigger like outlets were giving it like 4s and stuff, and it was like how can they have messed this up this bad? So anyways, I booted up. The first thing, like I was telling you, is that the game runs bad, and no matter what you play it on, it runs bad. So the PS4 and Xbox, they're locked to 30, or they're capped to 30, but you're not even getting 30 in most cases. You're getting between low 20s, mid 20s, unless you're in like a single player story mission, which that I will highlight is it seems like when you play like the main story missions, like when you're inside of when you're not in the open world, it's you're in a separate building or whatever, it runs perfectly fine. But all the issues come up when you go out into the open world, and your frame rate is going to jump between 30 to 60. And it seems like they just did a really bad job at optimizing the open world stuff. And that's all of my problems with it seems to come from like that decision to like really make it a co-op open world. If they didn't do that, the game is actually fine. Like I actually really enjoy it. The combat is a lot. It doesn't seem like it, and it's hard to, I guess, show it in like their trailers, but it's not the Arkham combat. It's like more straightforward. Like you just, there's no counter button, so you're not just like waiting for people to attack you.
Bait you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a punch button, a range button, and then a dodge button. And like it feels okay. I can see like how it can be repetitive, especially like if the enemies are damage sponges. But at least early game, you ain't got to worry about damage sponges or anything like that. So it's fun. Graphically, it looks okay. I don't think it's worth the performance hits that you get, like when you turn on ray tracing. Like it looks okay. Gotham Knights and the other games look a lot better artistically. But anyways, yeah, my main point is that I enjoy the single player stuff. Everything else that comes into the open world and multiplayer stuff is weak. Like the open world is pretty straightforward. It's pretty basic. Like if you play Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed, like you've seen this type of open world before. Go around, do random stuff, and that unlocks more story missions. The co-op I haven't played yet. One, because I like to play games by myself, but like every time I tried to connect, the game would crash. So I tried co-op like 5 times. Like 4 of those 5 times, the game crashed as soon as I connected to the host. The fifth time I was able to get into a match. Ran around with the dude for like 2 minutes. Then he, stood around doing nothing and then quit. I was like, okay. So a big waste of time, in which if this was a completely separate mode for people who want to do that, that would have been fine. It wouldn't have impacted everybody else who doesn't want any of that stuff, because I just really just want to play this as like, which you can. It's a single player game still, but the design of the game is made for this online co-op, in which it's not good. So it seems like wasted time and resources, in which I probably could have just made a really good game. I don't think it's a 4, probably like a 6 or whatever, depending on how bad the
6 out of 10. Is that what you're trying to say? 6 out of 10.
Well, for me, I'm enjoying it more than the 6. But I think that once you complete the game, and like I said, how depending on how bad it gets with like the loot grind, it might drop down to like a 6 or something like that. But yeah, I guess, did you see anything that you were curious about from like the reviews or coverage of it?
Nah, I mean, the thing that was intrigued me the most was really just the story. Everything else I kind of figured. When I first saw the game, I figured it was going to be a bland open world, and I felt like it was going to be like a mixture of two games that they didn't know where to go finish. So it was like this middle ground of hollowness that I was already anticipating, and that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. What everyone is saying is basically is that this game was supposed to be more multiplayer than they leading on, and they decided to add in the stuff and change stuff afterwards, and like these. Now you live with this shell of the game and have all these different type of currencies, these different type of mode and things, and it just doesn't make any sense.
It definitely feels like they wanted a Avengers game, and then changed their mind halfway through it because Avengers the game came out
because nobody liked it.
Yeah, because so far I like everything in there more than the Avengers. Like the combat feels better. It actually has an open world, not just like, random kind of like missions and stuff like Avengers did. But since they removed all the extra online stuff, it feels like, it's a lot of tacked on stuff going on here that, I don't know, maybe they needed, which I don't know, they might have taken another 2-3 years to like remove all the stuff or like build on top of it. But it really just seems like they would have been better off picking one direction and sticking to it. Like, even if this was exactly like the Avengers or it was completely online, it might have actually been good if they put the time into it, because the combat and everything I actually think is more fun than the Avengers. But it was a big risk to follow up a game like the Avengers after that came out was bad.
Yeah, and then sparking the 30 FPS conversation and all that good jazz. It just kind of it insinuated that something that the Series S or the consoles did that caused it to be this crappy. And
that's
the game.
That's a lie.
It's just crappy. So stop that. I need the developers to stop pretending as if there was something that was needed to be done. It was like literally this game is running on 4090s sub 60. That is a trash, poorly optimized game. It's not like the game itself is bad, but you guys did not optimize the game properly. So stop pretending as if you did. And it was just so tough to get it on the Series S. Like literally, you would have had a cyberpunk situation if they did not drop those old consoles. Like that is what this is.
And even Cyberpunk runs well on the Series S, and it's like the game is like the optimization is a 0, like a 0 out of 10, because like going through all the PC stuff and it's the same on console. The game is like CPU limited, in which it's not using all of the CPU threads correctly. Like it'll use one thread and that thread will get to 100%, and then it'll try to use another one. But at that point, you've already dropped frames because you've reached 100% and it lagged. Whereas like the fix for the PC version, instead of dropping all of your settings to the lowest, hoping that it'll raise your frame rate, because it doesn't, you'll still jump between 20 and 60. The workaround is to max out the graphics to force the game to use all of your CPU cores, and then you'll get a more consistent frame rate, which is completely counterintuitive because the developer didn't do a good job of actually optimizing the game. It's just they put
exactly.
they put everything in the game and said, here, go with it. And
Yeah,
it just doesn't run well. And the Series S, obviously the Series S wouldn't run this because you have to actually tailor it to cut back some certain stuff. Like, I know, like, they have settings for like draw distance and stuff like that. But if it's not working, like, you really got to go in there, like, delete cars, remove NPCs, lower your textures, whatever you got to do to get it to run on that platform. And, I guess they didn't have time for that.
What's even funnier is that the Series S is the console that is running it at closer to the lock 30 than everything else. It's because of the lower resolution. Like, it's actually performing better at keeping the 30 FPS than the Series X and the PS5. So they can really miss me. Like, it's kind of like, it just feels as if there's a shift currently. It's a shift in gaming in general and how people are prioritizing other things outside of crunching, being more dedicated to the work. It's this quiet quitting phenomenon, and these developers are feeling it heavily. They relied on too many people to do too much, and we can see the fruits of relying on one person and not really building up the next up and coming, because those next up and coming people, they're not going to do what you think the other people are going to do. Like, they're not going to take your low wages, and they're not going to run like sheep to every little problem that there is and try to work over like hours and hours just to try to fix things. You're going to put out a crap game, and it's unfortunate now that we only have like, we have to praise games that come out in a great state, because there's so many that don't, and it's solely based off that. Like, I honestly believe that the culture of development has changed so much over the last 3 years that they have yet to bring in or adjust to the situation, because like, there's plenty of games that have come out. There's plenty of games that haven't had this, but there's plenty of games that have come out. Big AAA games, I'm talking. Not even like indies or anything like that. Indies are usually they're based around and bound by the little small team, so they already understand the workload. These AAA games where they have people on payroll, they have to pay these people, and they expect more when they don't even provide them the resources necessary or the time to be able to work-life balance. This is what you get. This is what you get, like, every time. Like, all these games are coming out and they're just poorly done. And it's amazing to me. Like, it's amazing. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to God of War just simply based off polish. Bayonetta 3 probably going to be really good optimized, because those types of companies, they just have to. I mean, Platinum doesn't have to. They have made plenty of crappy games lately, but I think Bayonetta 3 is probably going to be one of those ones they can't just mess up. So, and Nintendo doesn't have a track record of putting out crap. So it's mostly these other brands, these other companies that really don't understand or really get what we are trying to do mostly. So, or what they are trying to do. So yeah, it's all over the place, man. This whole Plague Tale, Requiem, this whole we're gonna jump back into the 30 FPS, 40 FPS situation. I disagree. There's plenty of games that have like really exceeded and expanded the expectations of this Gotham Knights, like Arkham Knight. It's just so many. It's so many cases that you can research and review to show that this is not true. Nobody ever thought that all games were going to be 60 FPS, but we thought the ones that were AAA big titles, they would have a secondary mode. To not have it is kind of interesting. So,
not having it is a choice. It's not that you can't do it. It's you have to choose to do it, and by not choosing it, like, not everybody has to do it, but like, you at least have to be upfront with it. Like, no, we can't do it. Like, not because of the Series S. It's like, we don't have the time and resources to do it. I think that is, people will still be upset about it, but that's more acceptable excuse that like, okay, you at least acknowledge like this is your fault and go from there.
Have we as consumers adjusted to waiting for, if a game like something like God of War Ragnarok, have we begun to adjust to wait until like the day one patch to see if the game runs well? Because like Dying Light 2 was a game that I ran head over heels into, right? And it sucked day one. Do you feel like the consensus or the or has your mindset changed over games that you truly anticipate? Like does technical issues even thwart you from like trying a game, or is it like still something that you can just look past, and as long as the game that you were interested in purchasing in the beginning was intact anyway? Like, do you care now, or do you put some more emphasis on waiting for those types of stuff to come out, or is it still head over heels? If I let a game, I let a game. Because I'll be honest, it's still that same way for me. Like, I don't care if it was like God of War Ragnarok can come out with like a really poor frame rate. I still buy it, but I'll be upset about it. I don't know if it's like gotten to the point where people are starting to put the pre-orders down and not buy games like that they really anticipate. Like Sonic Frontiers. If that game came out, and it could definitely, this is a game that could be poorly optimized because they have already discussed it and they have all the pop in. Is that going to thwart Jalen or yourself or me from actually picking it up?
It depends on the game. Like if it's because like, for example, Xenoblade and like Xenoblade 2, people would be like, well, it doesn't run well. It's 25 FPS, it's like 480p and stuff like that. That game for me, like it didn't run well, but it was acceptable enough where I can still enjoy the game for me personally, so I still played it. But like if it's something else, like let's say Sonic Frontiers, it's on PC and the game literally won't start, and like they're like, you got to go through all these hoops to get it to even start, and it runs terribly, and that I might not put up with if it's not like my most anticipated game. Like Sonic Frontiers looks okay, but I can skip it. But you know, for example, let's say Bloodborne 2.
Final Fantasy 7 remake. What about that? It's part 2.
Yeah, that actually ran bad on PC, but I picked it up because I wanted to play it because it's a game I really like, and my PC, and would mess around with the settings, I could power through it. So that's fine. Since I'm playing on PC, if it's fixable and I like the game, I'll do it. Or if it's not fixable or it's just an okay game, I'll probably just skip it and wait and see what happens.
Okay, we all in agreement, aren't we, Jalen? Are we all in agreement?
I mean, not necessarily. I need to make sure I'm able to play it, and I feel like that's going to be like an annoying part. So I don't think I like cop it, I guess.
But so you do? I mean, I guess because I'm trying to make sure. What you're saying is normally before you buy a game that you're highly anticipating, you probably will look up if it has technical issues. Like, I know you didn't do it for Kingdom Hearts 3, but I'm like, in the future, something that you highly anticipating, more than likely you don't, even if you, like, I don't know what games, maybe Final Fantasy 7, like this part 2, if it was like 30 dropping frames to 20, but it was playable, does it matter?
I mean, yeah, with that, I mean, that's definitely gonna matter. I mean, if the performance not there, I don't want to play it. So, especially if it's doing like mediocre things, and it's like if it's doing mediocre things like dropping frames, and we on like PS5s and stuff, and it's doing PS3 type things and stuff like that, like I'm not gonna tolerate it.
Gotcha. Now, is it a return or is it a wait for patch?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like y'all gave Cyberpunk a pass. So, I mean, I guess I could wait, but I guess I ain't never really been put in that situation. It depends on how bad I wanted to play the game, though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like, I think it's all situational. I was just trying to make up a scenario. I think it's like, it's really like, it's like stars align type rare. You know what I'm saying? Like the game first, one being highly anticipated, one having bad performance, and two still being able to. It's like Cyberpunk. You know, like I don't think that's ever going to happen again. If it does, it's crazy. Like I don't think CD Projekt Red would ever do it. I don't think Rockstar would ever do it. It's like it has to be a highly anticipated game, like Grand Theft Auto 6. It has to be something that's like truly a hype train magnitude where people will still buy it, even though it's crappy. And the only thing I can think of for you guys is Square Enix games like Final Fantasy or Final Fantasy 16, like games that are going to have a whole bunch of hype. And even if it sucks, y'all still might call it y'all Bethesda. That's y'all Bethesda. that's y'all Bethesda. That's y'all Fallout. But yeah.
Bethesda game's tight. What you talking about?
Man, yeah, sure. Okay. You can have it. You can have it, buddy. Like I said, I still think they lost money on that deal. Oh God, I think they lost money, but we gonna keep it pushing. So the DualSense Edge came out, Josh, and it was not what we thought. It's $200, right? $200 is still more expensive than the actual series. I think it's called the Course, yeah, Elite Series, the Elite Series 2 controller, and an Elite Core controller, of course. It has less buttons, less features, but what does have one thing, it basically will allow you to fix a problem that they can't fix. Stick drift. So stick drift ain't gonna be fixed no time soon. I can get everybody to use the same parts, whatever the case may be. It ain't working. But they allowed you for a hot price of $20. You can swap out your module for your whole controller, or at least your joystick, left or right, and then you can put another one in for $20. I don't know if it's going to be $20 per set or $20 per module. I would do the latter because it's Sony. Is that enough to charge $200? In my opinion. Heck no. But I mean, what you think? Did you see anything about this controller?
Not since the initial reveal, because I was never gonna get one. Because like the Elite controller serves like all my needs, even though, like, how to put it? Yeah, an improvement to like the internals so that it has better longevity is good, but it's not. I don't think that's a sell as far as like a reason. It's not an upsell for me.
Gotcha.
It's.
I mean, that's why they make warranties, you know? Like, I mean, It's nice to be able to take a problem and fix it yourself. But honestly, you get a warranty, 4 years, 3 year warranty. They can fix that. But if they have that type of controller where it no longer is under warranty for stick drift because they have modules, and that's an interesting story there. See, Sony will do something like that. I can see that happening. So it's interesting. It's interesting. And I thought it was a cool concept, and I started thinking about it more. And I was like, well, this is a warranty saver for them. This will stop claims from coming in. This actually could be something where they don't potentially offer any warranty claims for it anymore. And I was like, wow. They just figured out a way to scam us further. But, you know, it's Sony. I didn't really have much to say on the topic outside of, if you guys aren't aware of what this controller do, I'm going to give you a quick rundown and get some opinions, and then we're going to move on. Like I said, it has the replaceable thumbsticks that are $20 either per or one module or set, per module set or one module. It comes with like all the standard attachments. It has swap outs for your actual thumbsticks. They have like the larger one, and they have like the padded. So they have two different sets of thumbsticks to be interchangeable. And then they also have two different types of back buttons. So you have the standard paddle, and then you have these like these cushion triggers. I think they're like round triggers that you can use instead. I guess it's the way for you to have like better ergonomics. Yeah, I don't know how to say that, but it has better better way to grip the controller. So I know I'm saying it right, but I don't want to say it again to mess it up. So, the charge cable has a lock mechanic. I don't know how cool that is, because if you lock in your controller to the cord, what if it sends your PlayStation flying? But it depends, because it's not going to be locked to the PlayStation itself. It's just to the controller. So if somebody trips, it's not breaking your controller internals. So basically, they were just figuring out ways. They said, man, what was always claimed under warranty? This part. Okay, let's fix it. And then it's charging more. So that's what they did. And that's what it felt like, honestly. And I was reading through the stats, I was like, that's interesting. Why do they have a lock mechanic on the cable? It's like to supplement warranties, to make sure their warranties stay down. Pre-order started today. Actually, sorry, this is the 24th. Tomorrow, the 25th. And it will launch on January 26th. Honestly, this is a cop for the PlayStation fan. I honestly think there's better controllers out there for the PlayStation right now. I mean, I use myself back paddles that I modded onto my controller, and it was $40. $200 is a lot for a controller, especially when it's lacking in a lot of areas. It doesn't have the ability to save configurations. I don't know if it's going to be coming with a software based one, but on the Elite series it's hardware based. So you can literally turn it from 1, 2, and 3, as in like your mode set for a fighting game, FPS mode, or just story game, whatever the case may be. There's different modes you can swap through immediately. And that's a physical button on the controller. That doesn't have that on the DualSense Edge. So just something to think about. I know peripherals and stuff like that isn't everyone's cup of tea, but $200 is still significant for a controller like this. Like, that's almost a Series S, and they're gonna be $238 at Costco on Black Friday, which I was like, man, I'm tempted. The boy gonna be $238. That's like, that ain't much more. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the DualSense Edge. Any thoughts about that before I move on? Or final thoughts?
No, it's cool. The main thing is that seeing this, I am hoping that eventually Microsoft does a revision to the Elite controller. Like, it's really good right now, and I don't actually have any other needs, but I know a lot of people like the new DualSense's audio or like haptic feedback stuff. And I will say, that is the weak point that the Xbox has at this point. No mic on the controller, and the haptics are just pretty standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, it's cool. It's too expensive for me to replace my Series X controller, so.
Yeah, definitely too expensive. I mean, that's unfortunate, but like I said, to each his own. I'm not telling you not to buy it. It could be the perfect controller for you. To each his own. But moving on, I did want to talk about this real quick, which is it was interesting to me. Jalen, you ever seen G4TV at all? Like anything about G4TV? I know it used to run in GameStop, but that was about it.
No, you said G4. Is that?
It's like,
it's the same channel as like Ninja Warrior.
Oh, okay, yeah. I used to watch that.
So that was the only thing you watched on G4TV, like Ninja Warrior? Because I don't even remember Ninja Warrior being on there. It must have been like a newer one, huh?
No, it was a part of the overall station, but the actual the game segment was separate from the other stuff they had on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
like they had like Reno 911 and like other weird stuff, but most people watched it for like the game news section.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit, but not a
I
lot.
think so.
I thought it was on Comedy Central, but I could be wrong.
If it wasn't that, it was another like cop show, I think.
Yeah. Well, G4TV is shutting down again. Started a year ago. It didn't make a year. Less than a year. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but I mean, I never read about it. I never watched G4TV. I don't know nothing about it. But everybody kept on saying something about they were too woke. And I had no idea what that meant. And basically what it turned out to be is that they had women. I was like, I don't really get this, bro. But I don't really care because, again, it was just something that I was like, have you guys ever watched it? I haven't watched it. Fill me in on what this is if you can, and like a quick synopsis. But yeah, I was intrigued by it because I was like, dang, this thing almost beat if y'all remember that other one that was like for smartphone format videos. Dang, I can't remember the name. It lasted like 6 months. And I remember Kevin Hart had like, I think it was called Die Hard. It was one of the shows. Dang, what was the name of that freaking thing? I don't know. I think I just remember it being like a really short stint. And a lot of people were invested in it. Just dead in the water. But G4TV, the only people I know that probably got impacted by this is somebody I watched on YouTube a lot. His name is Black Hole Kage. He was a anchor, or at least someone that made content for them, and I don't think he had put up any updates, or at least I haven't paid attention to it. But it's just interesting. I was just kind of like, I wonder what caused it to kind of fall. But and then I kind of read stuff, and I just like, this ain't right. And Twitter don't really give you good information. It's a lot of people opinions, not the facts. So sometimes it's just weird.
I think, of course, like it's always hard with like networking anything because a lot of people, are into new things like TikTok and other stuff. And for investors, you gotta be making they gotta see a big profit to keep pushing for any sort of network. So G4 was always, even back in the day when they were on cable, it had good content and a lot of people enjoyed the content, but it's not about the quality of the content that keeps it around. It's about how much profit they're making. And just stuff like IGN and other gaming websites were making more profit with, less overhead because it wasn't like a, TV show.
So like Game Informer had to make a channel, and I mean they're trying. How long y'all think Game Informer got? I mean, they make good. They I guess they had a good partner in GameStop, but you only get as good as your partner. And GameStop is.
Aren't they? Are they still owned by GameStop? Like,
I don't know if they're owned by GameStop. I know I'm tired of them getting like exclusive stuff because I don't see it until like somebody else pick it up to say, "Hey, it's exclusive over here." Maybe I should just subscribe to them. And I'm not saying that they are bad. I don't really know any of their, like, you got the Destin Legary's, you got my man's that's always, I'm not not finna say that. He's always a very enthusiastic Xbox Ryan McCaffrey. You have these names that I'm used to on IGN, but I don't know anyone from Game Informer. Hell, I know people more on Easy Allies than I do on Game Informer, and I stopped watching Easy Allies a while ago too. So I just feel like there's like this weird shift where people are starting to have to create content in a different way and like become more of personalities than just like journalists. And I think it's kind of hard for certain companies that just like been deep rooted in that, and like they're not really ready for the video format. I mean, video format been here for ages, but you can tell Game Informer is struggling to kind of curate the talent. And same thing with G4TV, thinking that they were making something, special, and just to be over a year to be like, nah, that's dead. Like, Takes a lot. Takes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. And I don't know if how well it will take off for a big, how to put it? Maybe something like G4 is too big to like launch, because a lot of people, just individual YouTubers will serve that same purpose for a lot of people with, basically no budget. And even if they do have a budget, it's much less than what you need to run a whole network like Rooster Teeth and all this other stuff. And that's why you keep seeing them shut down or like lay off people, just because it's hard they're just too big to weather these, difficult times when like, the economy gets bad and stuff like that.
And yeah, it sucks though. I mean, content like that sometimes is useful, I guess. I mean, I just like having variety, and I think that the variety is what worries me, is that people are not able to, like, G4TV, I guess, was a big name. That's what I read, and had a lot of following, but for it to like be removed that easy after putting effort into it kind of makes me like, people trying stuff. I guess the new formats is maybe podcasting and doing certain things. Like I said, it's like it is very much so talent based more so than journalism. Like true journalism is kind of like you appreciate it when people can write something well. Like Skill Up, I really enjoy that he can write and like portray his thoughts in such a, visual manner, right? But you understand that the only reason I'm watching him, like Gamer Nexus that started doing IGN stuff, not Gamer Nexus, what's his name? I forget his name now, but he was the guy that used to do like technical videos, and he was kind of like a smaller Digital Foundry, right, by himself. He moved to IGN, and now because he's over there, like Destin Laguerre used to do his like the reviews over there, like the technical reviews. He did okay, but I like the way that he does his, and he has more now he has more people to be able to help and assist with like actually testing the game, so he can do it faster, but he can also have like more concise. Obviously, Digital Foundry is still the people I go to as in like watching all their stuff, but there's a secondary option, and I just like that, and it's kind of unfortunate that they had to get knocked out like that, but it comes and goes. I guess there'll be something else down the line. I just know that there's a different level from free YouTube stuff to a production company. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. Like IGN versus Digital Foundry. I enjoy Digital Foundry and Skill Up reviews more, but IGN has the ability to get access to things that they possibly can't or don't have the power to kind of cover all the things that we want to see covered. So for G4TV, or a company that is like a little bit different, but also does those types of topical things and have conversations around gaming in a different way, it's kind of unfortunate to kind of lose those, even if I never engaged in it in that way. Maybe there may have been a show at some point that, I engage with, because I do actually watch certain things like that. But that's all I had. I ain't really want to spend too much time on G4, but it's if I had a sad song to play when stuff like that happened, I'll play it right now. The world's smallest violin. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the scary games recently. Silent Hill, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, like all this stuff kind of was like exploding over the last, like for real, like over the last week and a half. Just so much crap coming out about scary games. Callisto Protocol, basically throwing extra shame on Gotham Knights, saying, yes, we will have a performance mode. Yes, it'll be at 60 FPS. I was like, that's a little spice on that. But, and then Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 4 Remake, having all their footage showing, and it really looks like it's going to stick true to like the source. And it's cool because like I trust them now because they did the remakes for Resident Evil 2. I never played Resident Evil 2, but it felt like a game and a lot of people praised it for that. So now that I play Resident Evil 4, I'm going into Resident Evil 4 Remake with a different expectation, and I hope it lives up to that. And you know, then Silent Hill came out with all of their stuff. Silent Hill 2 remake, being done by the people that made Medium. I think it's Bloomberg Studios, something. I don't remember the name. And then there is
Blooper or something like that.
Blooper. And then there was what was the other thing? Silent Hill 2 remake. Then there was like 3 other Silent Hill games. All of them different in its different way. Like the one that's set in Japan and like I think it's like 1940s, something like that, or 1840s. One of those. That was seen as very interesting. But yeah, like I mean, obviously it's October, spooky season, but geez, it was like a lot of stuff came out. And Dead Space Remake does not look like a cash grab no more. That game look tight, and you're gonna be able to explore it in different ways. Where you're gonna be like, you're gonna be able to go through the entire. They stole the one thing that I was like, oh my god, I can't wait. Is that they said no more loading screens. You're literally one-shotting it like God of War, and I was like, that game is very atmospheric. Like I could not play that game with headphones on. It was just too much. But I'm gonna try to get through it this time, and I hope they got the sound score and the way they were playing it, the way they were showing it. It just all looked like it was just gonna come to like. It's a lot of competition for games, and right now, and Dead Space is just looking like a great one. EA might do something right this time, which is crazy to me to say out loud because they haven't done a lot right. But Dead Space, all those games look like they're really gonna be something, and that's cool, like for real, because I need something to kind of cleanse the palate right now from all these games I've been playing and not living up to expectations most of the time anyway. What was something that I was, where the heck is my list of games that I was going to, the games I'm anticipating? I can't even find that list no more, but it was quite a bit.
Ones you sent out to us?
Oh yeah. I'm not buying Modern Warfare 2 no more. But matter of fact, let me go back before I move into that. Anything mentioned or seen that you want to elaborate on for any of that? Jalen, Josh, Silent Hill, Dead Space, Resident Evil 4. Anything, any shared experiences? I know the only one I can share is when I was playing Silent Hill with my brother, and that chump ran out the room on me. So we was playing Silent Hill, and I don't remember what scene it was, but it was one of them scenes. I think it was when we first saw the pyramid guy. I think that's when it happened, but I could have been wrong, and it could have been when we was hiding in the closet, and the pyramid guy like pushed up on us, and we was like shooting. Whatever happened, my brother paused the game, ran out the room, threw me the controller, and I was like, bro, I had to be like 6, 7, 8. He like 13 or something. He ran out that room so fast, bro. But I just remember that because I was like, bro, I was scared too. Because I was like, bro, I'm not finna play this game alone. So I think we finished it if I'm not mistaken. But that was Silent Hill 2. It was Silent Hill 2. But that was like one of the core memories for me playing games with Sean. And it was him.
Yeah, he let you down.
He let me down, man. He did the same thing with Resident Evil 4. We was in the village. Because he would play the games. I would just watch him. And or it would be like or I'll play it through a second time after he finished it or whatever. because we only had one system, and you know how that goes. Anyways, but so I was playing Resident. I mean, we was playing that, and I'm like, he done it twice. But now it was always fun watching them, playing them together, because that was like just something we did, and that's how I got into like scary games anyway. But yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to share. But anything y'all want to talk about, say on, or discuss in regards to these scary games?
Yeah, everything that was presented looks good. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake looks good. I know we talked about it before, that there's a lot of stuff that they might change, and so far this stuff that they've shown, people are saying that it seems like they're adding more content, or like some ideas that they couldn't do before to the game, like bringing the flashlight back to the game, because they didn't have like a flashlight in the original,
right?
But like the newer games have a flashlight, because it's a lot, better graphics, a lot darker environments, and that can help make the game scary. Because the issue that you run into with a lot of remakes for horror games is that if people have already played it, is it still scary? And how do you make it scarier with like modern techniques and stuff like that? So Callisto Protocol still is a standout for me, because it's it looks like to give that Dead Space experience, but it's completely new, so I don't know what to expect from it. Dead Space, I want to play it because Dead Space is fun to me. It's not scary anymore because I've beaten the game like 20 times, but it's still a fun combat system, which I enjoy. I've never beaten Resident Evil 4, because those games, the first time you play through them, like, you're supposed to not know what to do. So I waste a lot of time in the village, like actually trying to figure out, all right, what am I supposed to do? But I still want to try to finish it before the remake comes out, so at least I can compare it better. And I know of Silent Hill, and I've seen like people play it, but I've never played it myself. I know that it's praised for the story, so hopefully at least they do a good job with the remake of 2, so I can jump in on that.
Yeah. You heard what they did with Dead Space. Well, maybe you didn't, because you didn't elaborate to it. Dead Space, they have like mechanics now where, say for instance, you're going through a certain area, they will have it where there's like these switch up mechanics where you will do something, and you can either revert power to the lights, you can revert power to give you more air oxygen in the room. Or I think the other one was like, I forget, I don't know if it was health or whatever, but playing that game without lights is so much scarier than playing that game with like less oxygen. So they're like actually trying to mix up the gameplay, and then like there are certain things that you can do to, when you going through certain places, like they will have it where like the ship itself, right? You no longer go on that no longer take the train, right? You're literally going through space to go through to the next place. So you're literally traversing as if you would be sitting on that train going to the next station portion. That like the whole thing is open. So that in itself is a big change, but also on top of that, they're doing things to section it off to make it where you can't just fly across the entire map. Obviously, oxygen and things of that nature are important. There's some scare. I'm a little scared that they might be changing too much, but at the same time, I like that they are taking a risk, because if they can obviously just put the game out the same way and people won't complain. But on the other hand, that me and you, I mean, we played it multiple times. I never got to 20, maybe like 3 times. But I know that game, like a lot of the parts and a lot of the stuff that's happening. So to be able to even move around freely while traversing in, different places, and you don't have to just like jump on zero gravity and go from a spot to a spot. You're literally floating as if you were in Dead Space 2. like all of that extra stuff that they're going to be putting into the game, it changes how you play it, right? As well as the sound design and having to be in these like oxygen tank chambers more often than you used to. It just makes it feel different. So I was watching like this, like I recommend you watch it too, like this 13-minute video about how much they have changed it and like things like that. But and like I said, it piqued my interest a lot because I was just like, I'm cool on it. I'm gonna play it. I ain't gonna get too hyped, but then it kind of pushed me up there because it was like all the stuff that it was showing me, and like all the stuff that kind of brought back memories, but also the fresh stuff too.
Yeah,
I recommend checking that out if you ain't if you ain't did it. I think that was a Game Informer exclusive. And I was a little annoyed. I saw it 3 days later because I did not know that they had it. So.
Yeah, no, I didn't see all that stuff, but it sounds good that they're expanding on the game and not just remaking it.
Yeah,
in which the remake is fine, but like especially with Callisto Protocol coming out before it, you got to do more to like stand out.
Absolutely.
So it's not just forgotten.
Yeah. So all good things. I'm looking forward to it. Anything that you're gonna try, Jalen, out of these games?
Man, I don't even play them games, bro. I always stayed away from them when I was a kid. I still probably stay away from them. Like, I ain't even gonna see nothing. Pyramid, man, none of that Silent Hill stuff, bro. I'm good. Games can stay right where they at, man. Stay put.
Man, why? Them things, I like them a lot, but I get it.
Man, you at least gotta play Dead Space.
Yeah, I think Dead Space is at least the one you can play.
Go stump some people.
Yeah, I think the technical design of that game is more amazing than like the game itself, because it's just like when it came out, nobody was really doing what it was doing. Like the soundscape, the over the shoulder, real close, personal dismemberment, like all of that stuff was just so unique and cool to me that it was worth playing it in itself. The loud crunch stomp, man, so good.
Yeah, and I just like the like how they did the combat where you are really strong and you have a lot of options. But they use that still to your advantage where, they're going to surround you. And, it just made me really good at the game. And that's why I enjoyed it. Whereas like stuff like Silent Hill or Resident Evil or the older ones, it's kind of like awkward movement and like you can't really turn and shoot and stuff. So
it was really cool.
Obviously, in newer games, you can do that now, but Dead Space was the one that started that.
Yeah, and I also forgot to mention the fog. They like added fog and like volumetric lighting to where you can't see through certain things, so it makes fights in small containers. Like, you know how you used to get like those, you'll get trapped in like those things where they try to cleanse you or whatever. I forget what they call it, the chambers. But basically those little things that be on the ground jumping at you with the three tentacles. They like can hide in the fog.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I think it's gonna be dope because they just like they actually are trying to make the game more scary but also intense in those moments. And it was already intense enough, but just doing all that stuff to put a modern twist on it and actually putting in things that are technically more sound, like I'm really excited for it. Yeah, if I was to try one, Jalen, I'd try that one. Silent Hill, more psychological horror, and if your brain ain't ready for all that, don't do it. But but yeah, it's a little weirder. But Dead Space is kind of more straightforward. Aliens, but in a different one twist. But yeah. That's all I had for this week. I don't really want to push to other stuff unless you guys had something else you wanted to talk about. I know there was like the whole Final Fantasy 16, but the game looked beautiful. It's beautiful, man. That's all I got to say. I was not on the bandwagon. I am all the way on the bandwagon at this point for Final Fantasy 16.
I didn't even watch the trailer yet because I'm already sold on the game and I kind of don't need to see every detail. But
same thing with God of War Ragnarok previews. I'm like, bro, everybody knows it's a 10 out of 10, amazing. Leave me alone with all these previews. Nobody cares about your preview impressions. Like, yes, I watched your video, but still, like, no. I don't need it. We already know we copping. It's like, who is still being convinced that God of War is a good game? Nobody.
Gotta convince Jalen.
Jalen just don't play games. He don't like games, man. Yeah, she was right when she said that. He was like, "I like games." Like, no, you don't. She was right. She was right.
No,
what you want me to say? I like games. But yeah. I think that is true, Josh. Like, seeing stuff that you're already sold on is like this pointless at this point. Like, I'm already sold on it. But it was still nice to get some more details on the game and like all the places you're gonna go or things you might be doing. I think that's really cool too. So, any games really recently wowed y'all in a sense where I was like, dang, this is a good game? I ain't even had none of that in a minute.
Yeah, man. A lot of different games.
But
you don't like Final Fantasy.
You said what?
I said, yeah, it's been a couple games, but some of them might be Final Fantasy. I know you don't like that.
Recently? What was WoW for you in Final Fantasy recently? Or are you talking about like Remake?
Yeah, Remake was probably the last one for me.
Did you play Intrigate yet?
I have it. I haven't played the new content.
Okay. You gotta play on the Epic Store, right?
No, it's on Steam now.
It's on finally. When did it go on Steam?
Like 2 months ago.
But I thought that was is it Strangers of Paradise that's on Epic?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. One of them was on Epic and wouldn't go to Steam yet. So, how is Final Fantasy VII on Steam? Like deck? Did you play on deck yet, or you can't play it on deck?
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but it ran pretty good on Steam Deck. I think I might have tried to lock it to 40. I don't remember. The main thing is it's gonna eat up your battery. It's like the most battery intensive game I've played so far. So.
Oh yeah. And I was playing some other games on there, and it pretty much ate that battery real quick. I forget what game it was now. But yeah, there's a few games on there, definitely for sure. It's gonna kill that battery in no time. But okay, I mean that's pretty much all I got for this week. I don't want to go too far over or too far, even if we got plenty of time left, but it's just a good space to end it, people. Want to make sure you stay consistent and get up on time. So I want to thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this, like I said, always give us a good rating on whatever you're listening to this. If you want to check it out, any other clips on my BCD Universe page, you can always check it out there as well. If you got here, you're the real OG as usual. Many blessings. Stay safe out here in these streets. Stay away from Kanye. Wherever you be, just stay away from him. You know, he on the bloodbath right now. So, and it's all on himself. So, I mean, I guess you can be around him because it's all about him. He's very destructive. He's one of those destructive ones that you was fighting, Jalen. Just that's all you do is sacrifice, self-destruct.
I miss the old Kanye.
He missed the old Kanye. Self-destruct. He said self-destruct. That's what I'm saying, man. This man ain't got nothing but a few tricks. This AI trash. Self-destruct. But all right, y'all. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys next time. Peace.